And one more round of applause for the Knights of Zion representing Belmont Street, AME. Thank you, people. Every year, the committee works to identify a keynote speaker that will bring an innovative, stimulating, and high-quality message relating to the philosophy and message of Dr. King. This year, we reached out to some people in the community to identify such a speaker. Representative James O'Day, was particularly enthusiastic about today's presenter. He agreed to speak to her about our breakfast and when she was available to determine her availability. We are pleased that she accepted. Now to introduce to our audience, I'd like to ask Representative James O'Day of the 14th Worcester District to come to the podium and formally introduce Marie St. Fleur. James.
So how about those singers, ladies and gentlemen? So if I could just ask for one moment of personal privilege. This is the 9th time I've had the opportunity to come to this breakfast. And it's just an incredible opportunity for all of us to come here early in each given year, 2013, 14, 15, and now obviously 2016, dating back 31 years. And obviously we don't have to be in the house of worship to have spirituality, but I know when I leave this event every year, I have lots of spirituality. And again, thank you to all the singers. You know, so when we do gather here every year as a commitment to our community and really to sort of revisit all of those great words and efforts by Dr. Martin Luther King, you know, we hear similar themes each year. We hear about justice and equal justice and justice, economic justice, and social justice. And certainly those are the types of issues that my dear friend Marie St. Fleur has been involved in for, I'm not going to say how long, Marie, but she's been involved in these issues for many years. And I had the privilege of first meeting Marie again around 9 years ago when I was first elected into the House of Representatives. And at that time I met Marie and I knew that she was an advocate, that she was a voice for her community, for communities of color, for communities of economic disadvantage, and her work continues today. Today, she is the Chief Executive Officer for the Bessie Tot Wilson Children's Initiative, where she uses her advocacy, her tenacity, her intelligence, and her commitment to children and working families, not only in the city of Boston, but across the Commonwealth. So it really is a great honor for me to be here today to represent to you, to bring to you, my dear friend, former State Representative Marie St. Fleur.
Thank you. Good morning. Oh, it's a blessed morning. You all know how to set a table in the city of Worcester. Thank you. I know I'm leaving inspired. I am leaving inspired. I want to take a moment with some brief formalities. I want to recognize the distinguished guests in this audience, colleagues and friends. It is such an honor and a privilege to address you at this 31st annual celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, and particularly in this moment in history. But I also want to take the time to thank your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues who made this happen. The co-chairs, Philip Nidri, Nellie Toney, and the entire committee for organizing such a thoughtful, and it is thoughtful, commemoration of Dr. King's life. I also want to recognize my friend who came with me. You don't serve in public life without having people who care for you, and when things are very difficult, who stand with you. And the lady who came with me today, Verdell Hayes, has been with me, I think, since I was in the Attorney General's office. And so I do want to recognize her here today for being here. I want to recognize our host. You know, I'm an immigrant, right? All of us are immigrants. Came from someplace else and got an opportunity. And one thing I was taught was education helps level that playing field in order to give us a place to move forward from. And so I want to thank Dr. Carberry for hosting us here today and for the wonderful work that you continue to do for students, many of whom would not have had an opportunity but for the doors that you kept open here. So I want to say thank you. Thank you. I want to give my warm regards to colleagues, former colleagues, who I'm so excited to see. I see our congressman. You have a fighter. I mean, I knew 11 years ago when I first met this gentleman. I think it's more than that now, probably closer to 20. When I first met Congressman McGovern, you have no better fighter in Congress for the rights of children, for those to be a voice, for those who may not be in this room today, and who still believe in the promise of America. You don't have a better congressman, and I want to say it's great to see you, Congressman. You know, I also want to say, you know, see, Massachusetts models what we ought to be doing in this country. It's not about us, it's about the country. It's about what's best for our children and our future. And so when I see our Lieutenant Governor, Karen Polito, I am pleased to say she works across the aisle, and so does the current governor. And so we are so pleased, and I'm so happy to see you and to have served with you. So it's good, it's really good to see you. So thank you. Thank you for being here today. You have an amazing mayor. I know it's my first time meeting Mayor Petty. Your words move me, your openness. Not everybody likes to talk and touch on the hard subject, and sometimes we do what's politically expedient and we skirt around it, but you put the words on the table today, and I say thank you, because we need to put the words on the table to deal with them. So I thank you. Thank you so much. So I look forward to getting to know you more. And then Jimmy O'Day. Now, Mr. Jimmy, you know, you have to have friends in the house. He was, you know, in the various divisions that you sit in. I love my work. If you're going to go do something, do it because you enjoy it, all right? Because, you know, and whatever else will come, will come. And there'll be difficulties, but there'll be people who touched you in life. Jimmy O'Day, I love you, brother. It's good to see you. It's really good to see you, and thank you for inviting me to be here. And, you know, I know that Tim Murray, Lieutenant Governor, the former Lieutenant Governor Tim Murray's in the room, and another amazing gentleman who fought for you day and night, and he's here still working with you, making certain that we move forward, right? All of us, not just Worcester, but all of us. So it's great to see the former Lieutenant Governor here today. Jim Leary. You know, Jim Leary, Jim was in the house, we were in the house for a few years together before he left, and you have him doing the amazing work that he's doing for the city. And so I am so pleased to see Jim, you know, and to know that the family's doing great, the kids are growing, but he's continuing to representing you in a field that is critical, right? Without health, not much happens in your life. And he's making certain that there continues to be a voice, even from his position, for those who need it most. And so, Jim, it's a blessing to see you, so thank you. And then we have our sheriff. Our sheriff, Evangelitis, is here. Lou, it's good to see you. Again, we worked across the aisle. That's what we should be asking of all our public servants. It's not about ideology. It's about what's best for our country. And I'm so happy to see you as well. So when I step into this space, it's not Democrat, it's Republican, it's America. That's what it ought to be about. That's what it to be about. And I know that there's so many other friends that I have in this audience that I'm working with in my current life. And I, again, say thank you. I have to put myself in space when I speak. I speak from a place, and it's my Judeo-Christian faith. That's the place that I speak from. And so I always start there. And when I'm always tortured as I begin to try to figure out how to do this and to figure out how to do it right so that it's meaningful. And so I was sitting in church yesterday, And the second reading, I'm Catholic, in case y'all haven't noticed, and I'm very, I was sitting there, and it was 1 Corinthians, chapter 12, verses 4 on. I invite you all to go read it, because it speaks to what's happening in this room today. And it gave me strength in the words that I'm about to share with you. So I invite you to do that today. The theme for this breakfast, right? The theme is love. In the quote you've heard, but I'm going to read it to you again. I think you should read that quote, take it home, read it to the kids and the grandkids. It's on your program. I'm concerned about a better world. I'm concerned about justice. And I say to you, I have also decided to stick with love. For I know that love is ultimately the answer to mankind's problems. And I'm not talking about emotional bosh when I talk about love. I'm talking about strong, demanding love. And I say to myself, hate is too great a burden to bear. These excerpts are from a speech titled, Where Do We Go From Here? Where do we go from here, America? Delivered by the good Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on August 16, 1967, at the 11th Convention of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference in Atlanta, Georgia. Powerful words, and so relevant today. We're able to say them in such comfort today. We're so much safer to say the words that I speak today than it was in 1967, 1957, 1947, and we can take it back. Powerful words and relevant today. So I'm truly encouraged by the essays written by your students on this topic. Despite the endless noise and loud voices of doom in our country and in our world, despite senseless violence, demeaning reality shows, destructive and hurtful words by political actors, Worcester chose to focus on love. You chose to call out the better angels in all of us. In their essays, your students, your progeny, your future, instruct us on how to model that love. They didn't talk about that Hollywood love or that hip-hop love. They didn't talk about that cotton candy pop star love or that fire and brimstone kind of love. Like Dr. King, they are talking about the strong, demanding love. A love that is hard. A love that is patient. A love that requires sacrifice. It requires sacrifice. So this morning, I will pick up on that theme and contextualize it further in the ecology of your great city. I will briefly touch on some of the challenges and the gifts and ask you to take action for each of the remaining 347 days in this year. In preparing to speak with you, I have gained a deeper appreciation and respect for the city of Worcester. Your city, the heart of New England and its glorious past. The place of the first public reading of the Declaration of Independence, July 14th, 1776, by the infamous Isaiah Thomas. The location of the first convocation advocating the rights of the rights of women, October 1850. Home to strong abolitionists, who I'm forever grateful for. Strong abolitionists like Abby Kelly Foster and Stephen Foster. Thomas Wentworth Higginson, editor of the Atlantic Monthly. Lucy Stone, Samuel May Jr., and so many more. In 1899, home to Worcester's whirlwind, Major Taylor, the second black man to hold a world championship in any sport. Worcester, a 19th century manufacturing giant in wires, textiles, clothing, shoes. Home in 1910 to Royal Worcester Corset, the company that employed the largest number of women in the United States. Building Worcester's strong economy then were immigrants, Irish, Polish, Jewish, blacks, Lithuanians, Swedes, Armenians, we can go on. All part of the human family upon which Worcester's glorious past was built. People who came from someplace else, different circumstances, language, culture, religion, all looking for a better way, a better opportunity for themselves and their families. Bleak, difficult, and harsh moments are part of that past. Then, like today, the words of Pastor Martin Niemöller resonates. In Germany, and we can substitute it today if you want. Use your imagination. In Germany, first they came for the communists. I didn't speak up because I was not a communist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak up because I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for the trade unionist, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Catholics, and I didn't speak up because I was a Protestant. Then they came for me, and by that time, no one was left to speak. Sadly, on our watch, we too can define they and substitute a number of places and people. Chicago, Ferguson, Nigeria. What about Mexican, Syrian, Muslim, dreamer? Use your imagination. But in Worcester, then, many spoke up. When hate reared its ugly head, many residents in Worcester stood up and said, no, not on my watch. When the triangular trade continued to sell Africans as a commodity, residents of Worcester stood up and said, no, not on my watch. So I am grateful for those who are abolitionists. When a woman's suffrage was thwarted, the residents of Worcester said, not on my watch. In 1924, when the Ku Klux Klan held its largest convocation, Mechanics Hall, I believe it was, they tried to grow their ranks in this city. Many residents stood up, and you said, no, not on my watch. The residents of Worcester learned to protect each other. They learned to support each other. Through sheer grit, compassion, sacrifice, and faith, they forged the steel backbone of the second largest city in the state of Massachusetts. I contend to you today that these actions are rooted in that strong, demanding love, the love of the human family. Dr. King said, love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. Today, Worcester continues to demonstrate the transformative power of love. New ethnic groups now call Worcester home. Again, different languages, different cultures and religion, but still rooted in the same objective, a better way for themselves and their families. And so the cycle begins anew. Grit, compassion, sacrifice, faith. So as you work through these challenges, new life is released into the city of Worcester. A growing economy, reclaimed neighborhoods, new legacies are being made, and new stories are being written. Youth are claiming their role, using the transformative power of love to make their city better. Rachel said to hate is nothing more than a choice. Through hatred, more problems are created than solved, and by resorting to it, we only bring ourselves down to the level of its origin. Aliciona said, love lifts the weight of hate. Instead of wishing revenge on those who wrong me, I ask for God to touch them and help them to know love. Alex said, love is a powerful force that shields you from the spiritual loneliness of hate. Love of community, agape love, where are the Jesuits? Agape love binds people into a loving community and makes the world a better place from your youth. Seamus said, I will be the vaccine that inoculates me, my family, and my community from hate. It begins with me. Wow, right? Wow. I'm just saying. So I know that in Worcester, yesterday and today, when they come, residents will stand firmly in that strong, demanding love and say, not on my watch. So when you travel the streets of Worcester, you can be greeted in English, Spanish, Vietnamese, Khmer, or by residents from the Middle East and various countries in Africa. As in the past, your political, educational, business, and cultural institutions are adapting. Along with numerous ethnic businesses and a diverse workforce, your political establishment is diversifying. And I commend Mayor Petty for hiring your first diversity officer. And I was remiss not to, I believe Mr. Augustus is here, who is your manager, your city manager, and I all too serve with him. And I also want to commend him on the work that he's doing on that commission. Through the work of the commission, love is not easy. Love requires work. And you are beginning that work. You are in the throes of that work. And the commission that you've pulled together is a tool to help you work through it. Join them and continue to make your city better. Residents of the past and present, forming new alliances and forging a brighter future for Worcester. The story of the physical and spiritual rebirth underway in Worcester is one that should be shared with our country. It is a story that can counter the loud voices that begs us to embrace the foundational elements of hate: distrust, resentment, estrangement. It is a story that holds up the ideals that make us uniquely American. We pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, not some, for all. Our creed is based on a love for others, even the stranger amongst us, not hate. Our creed tells us that we will not give in to hate, no matter our differences. The fulfillment of this ideal is a work in progress. Each day, each decade, each century requires us that we teach, that we learn, that we promote, and that we defend those ideals. Our mission is not accomplished. It is ongoing. Every day, residents in Worcester are modeling for us, quietly, the power of that strong, demanding love and protecting the ideals that make us uniquely American. A strong and demanding love comes with struggle. The challenges we face are not easy, and solutions may seem complex. Not everyone will be with you. Not everyone was with Martin. Not everyone was with Gandhi. Not everyone was with Christ. But we can be victorious. So in the next 347 days left in this year, each of us, yes, each of us, can take a step, can take one positive action to move our society to a better place. As Dr. King said, I cannot do great things if I cannot do great things. I can do small things in a great way. Our children are modeling these acts of love for us. Read their essays. A smile, a prayer, being considerate. It'll be different for each of us. For me, it's working with you to make certain that we invest in the workforce for our early education and care system. I think we have to do that. For me, it's making certain that we can have educators that can support the healthy development of our babies. Because I am convinced that a strong and demanding love requires that we teach, protect, and nurture our babies. And we need a great workforce to do that. And so I want you to join in with me to be able to do that. For you, perhaps it's public safety. Keeping us safe on our streets, responding to emergency in someone's home. Or maybe it's parenting a child who's going through an opioid addiction. We're seeing that across our state. Perhaps it's taking care of an elderly parent or a neighbor, because we have a number of shut-ins across our country and across our state. And perhaps it's watching out for that elderly person. Perhaps it's employing the marginalized. Perhaps it's elected office. Perhaps it's being a preacher. Whatever it is, in the next 347 days, do it. And do it well. Dr. King is a soldier in an army built to help us realize our ideals, the ones that we raise our hands to. That's who he is. And each of us is a soldier in that march forward. We need to pay rent for the joy and the privilege that we so glibly accept in this country. Freedom is not free. Each of us has a responsibility to do something and do it well. All of us came here, whether we picked up on the shores of Africa or came across on a boat from Ireland. But when we finally got here, we all had to figure out how to make it work. The journeys were different. Lots of similarities in those struggles. But the bottom line is, this is the place. This is the experiment. We are the holder of those ideals, and we have to do better. And we must do better. So it's not easy. It's not perfect. and not everyone's going to come along. But my friends, I'm going to close out and I'm going to leave you with these words, because I have been blessed to really get to learn and understand more about this wonderful city, honestly. So if you don't believe it, I ask you to take some time and look around you. There aren't too many places in America where you're going to witness what I see here today. And it's not black and white. It's not black, white, and Latino. It's everybody. It's everybody. And you are uniquely positioned to hold up what America ought to be. You're that mirror. You're that leader. Take it. Help us understand that this experiment is working and that each of us have a role in shaping that perfect union. Right? You agree with me? Yes. Do you agree with me? And so I am going to close with Dr. King's words, because he is who has inspired us to be here today. And again, he says, I am concerned about a better world. I'm concerned about justice. I'm concerned about truth. The road ahead will not always be smooth. There will still be rocky places of frustration and meandering points of bewilderment. There will be inevitable setbacks here and there. And there will be moments when the buoyancy of hope will be transformed into the fatigue of despair. But difficult and painful as it is, we must walk on in the days ahead with an audacious faith in the future. Let us realize that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Thank you. Thank you.
Of applause for our keynote speaker, Ms. St. LaFleur, and her introducer, James O'Day. Before our next musical piece, I do have one thing to add. On behalf of Quinsigamond Community College Open Door newspaper, Channel 3, and the Worcester Telegram and Gazette, I would like to invite all of the award winners and all of the children that are here, award winners or not, to come forward for a group picture at the conclusion of the program. Dr. King would be very proud to see so many young people here today on their day off from school to come and celebrate. So at our benediction, at the close of our benediction, please feel free to come down here. And now it gives me great pleasure again. We're going to sing our folk song, We Shall Overcome. So I'd like everyone to stand and embrace each other. Hold hands. And please remain standing after that for the benediction.
I do believe that we shall overcome someday. And we shall live in peace. Oh, we shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We're gonna live in peace. We're gonna live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we're gonna overcome someday. Oh, the truth will make us free. The truth shall make us free. Oh, the truth shall, it'll make us free someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do. Oh, yes, I believe we're gonna overcome someday. We'll overcome someday.
That was beautiful. I still have goosebumps. Thank you. Today, our benediction today is being offered by Rabbi Valerie Cohen of Temple Emmanuel Sinai. Rabbi Cohen.
One man said to the other, "Do you love me?" And he looked him in the eye and he said again, "Do you love me?" And then he said, "You'll never know if you love me unless you know what hurts me." So I learned this morning many things and was incredibly inspired, as you all I know were, by the music, by our speakers. I learned that you should never follow Marie St. Fleur. But I want to teach you something as well, a Yiddish word, beshert. Beshert means it was meant to be. I actually almost quoted Pastor Niemöller today, decided not to, but you'll see in a moment it was all meant to be. There was a rabbi, Joachim Prince, and Rabbi Prince spoke directly before Dr. King on the March on Washington. This German refugee began with this resounding proclamation, "I speak to you as an American Jew." He further drew upon his personal history when he said to the crowd, "When I was the rabbi of the Jewish community in Berlin under the Hitler regime, I learned many things. The most important thing that I learned under those most tragic circumstances was that bigotry and hatred are not the most urgent problem. The most urgent, the most disgraceful, the most shameful, and the most tragic problem is silence." Where do we go from here? It was also said about Rabbi Prince. It was said that he said, "We need to tear down the walls of the synagogues, our sanctuaries, our safe places, and take our values into the streets." So we pray. God, as we move from this place that has been warm and inspiring and safe and comfortable, even as we have been challenged. God, as we think about the lessons that we have learned this morning from each other, from the companionship we've had at our tables, from the inspiring music and words, and the values we've gained. As we tear down the walls of this morning, where do we go from here? We go into the streets of Worcester, and we take our values outside our homes, and it's our job to love and make a difference. Baruch atah b'voecha, baruch atah b'tzeitecha. Blessed were we to have the opportunity to come here this morning, and blessed are we as we leave. Together we say, Amen.
On behalf of the Breakfast Committee, I'd like to thank all of you in attendance today for your support and participation in the 31st, I don't think anybody's listening to me, Martin Luther King Breakfast Committee. I hope you enjoyed the program and that you leave here enhanced sense of admiration and respect for our civil rights. Who paved the way for justice and equality. Hallelujah. Huh? Yes, I'm at the end. No, that's okay. Safe travels, everyone.